In today's show, the Blazers lose in OKC in disheartening, deflating, and quite frankly, annoying fashion. The refs made sure they were part of the show late, spoiling an otherwise entertaining game. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? Is your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, aw dang. We got to talk about a game that was spoiled in the final 30 seconds, the final 15 seconds, by a bizarre refereeing choice. A night that was supposed to be a celebration of Scoot Henderson playing well and Anfernee Simons delivering in the fourth quarter and the Blazers exercising some demons after two beatdowns against OKC to play a really competitive game and get a legitimately good win on the road against one of the best teams in the league. Stolen. And now they're protesting this thing. So that's what we'll do. Recap that game. Talk about a chaotic final 30 seconds and a really bizarre end to the game. A really bizarre end to the game. Truly, you may never see that one again. And then what I want to do to close the show is talk about Terry Rozier. He got traded today, and I think Rozier, he got traded to the Miami Heat. I think what he went for, the price tag for Terry Rozier will, in some ways, is an interesting market setter for guards that are going to be traded this trade deadline, this cycle. And Malcolm Brogdon, it could have impacts for what the Blazers will get back in a Malcolm Brogdon trade. We'll talk about that to close the show. We got to talk about this game first, though. Let's do what we do. Fastest recap in the West. Blazers lose 111-109. Down big early, down 13 at the end of the first quarter, but Jabari Walker hits a corner three that hits every single part of the rim and rolls in, cuts the lead to 10, and the Blazers come charging back in the second quarter. I'm screwing up. It's in the second quarter. 38-20, they outscore the Thunder in that second quarter. They take a 66-58 lead into the break. Like, that was just a dominant, this is maybe one of their best quarters of the season. A dominant second quarter. Hit 12 threes in the first half. They were rolling, almost scored 70 points on the road. They were rolling. This team, they just haven't had many halves, particularly first halves, that look like that. And they responded. You know, they got thrashed by OKC. In Portland, in the first meeting, they lost by 62. It was one of the worst losses in the history of the sport. The last time these two teams met, when Blazers were a little more shorthanded, but they were in this one, and they were truly in it. Thunder, you knew they were going to make a push. They come out in the third quarter and take back the lead from down 8 to up 2, outscored the Blazers 30-20 in that third quarter. Headed into the fourth, 88-86. It's a freaking awesome fourth quarter. 14 lead changes in the fourth quarter, 8 lead changes in the final 6 minutes, including a stretch of 5 straight scores, either a basket or a pair of free throws, that where the lead changed hands. 5 straight times when either team had a scoring chance, 4 buckets and a couple of Anfernee Simons free throws, the lead changed hands. Like, this is a freaking great game. It's a great game down the stretch. Join me at the 29-second mark, though. Both teams have missed jumpers. Anfernee Simons comes the other way, gets a screen from Jabari Walker, and just says, "You know what? It's my time." Fades to his left, gets a left wing 3 up, and cash. Blazers go up 109-106 with 29.9 seconds left. So the Thunder take a timeout, and they go quick. And Jalen Williams, J-Dub, that's Santa Clara Jalen Williams, if you know, J-Dub quickly gets mid-range to his left, pull up, cash, 109-108. The Blazers have 2 timeouts. They don't take one. Thunder are going to have to foul because there's a second and a half difference, or 1.2 second difference between the game clock and shot clock. But 25.2 seconds left. Blazers inbound the ball. They come across half court. It's a 1-point game. The Thunder, they do not foul right away. They set up a really effective trap. And Malcolm Brogdon gets caught in coffin corner against the midcourt line and the out of bounds line at the top left-hand corner of the Blazers half court. And Chauncey Billups tries to call a timeout, and Malcolm Brogdon tries to call a timeout, but Brogdon steps through a double team. It happens very quickly, steps through a double team and double dribbles. At full speed live, it seems like a pretty reasonable call, to be quite honest. At full speed live, it looks like Malcolm Brogdon dribble, picks up his dribble, two defenders come, steps through, dribbles again, double dribble, the ball's going back to the Blazers. Chauncey Billups loses his mind. He's been trying to call a timeout. He bumps into the ref immediately, trying to get an explanation, kind of to get in, not like get into his face to yell, but get into his face to like make eye contact. What the heck just even happened? Why did I not get a timeout? Immediate tech. That's auto tech for bumping into an official. Auto tech, bang, gets one. Then he walks out onto the court, still trying to why are we not getting a timeout? Why is this a turnover? It's going back to them. Anthony Simons hit this big go-ahead bucket. We're going to make our free throws. We're going to win the freaking game. What's going on? Boom, quick second tech, really quick second tech. There's not even a good angle of the second tech on Blazers broadcast to really see what he did. But quick second tech, gone, chased. Bill Kennedy literally goes to the Blazers assistant coach, says, get him out of here. He can't keep yelling, get him out of here. Chauncey Billups leaves. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander now gets 2 free throws. He's going to get 2 free throws. A double tech, 2 techs, back-to-back techs, and an ejection in a 1-point game with 15.6 seconds left. Thunder took their tense, they knew they had time. They knew they had timeouts. 1-point game. They weren't going to foul. They wanted to trap, and it worked, kind of. in the way that it played out, it worked. I don't know if it worked like the way the rules should work, but it worked. Shai misses the first free throw, makes the second. Tie ball game. Thunder get it back. 15 seconds left. J-Dub, same thing. Quick pull up, moving to his left. Cash. Thunder go up by 2. Blazers have a timeout. Without Chauncey Billups, they draw up a play. It's a lob pass from, I think it had a couple options, but one of them was a lob. I think it was Ant coming to the top or a lob at the rim to DA. Malcolm Brogdon tries to throw a lob at the rim to DeAndre Ayton. It's a way short. It's not a good pass. Intercepted by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the Thunder get out of there with a win. Steal 1 with help from the Zebras. They don't wear stripes anymore, but help from the Zebras. That's your fastest recap in the West. We'll talk a lot about the last 15 seconds in the second segment. Let's go to the box score real quick. Scoot Henderson, team high 19 points, 7 assists, just 1 turnover. This was a good Scoot game. Didn't play the final 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Had a foul and then missed a little jump shot, and they put Malcolm Brogdon back in the game. Kind of totally reasonable that Chauncey Billups puts Malcolm Brogdon back in the game for the final 440 because he's better and you're trying to win. But I just want them to play Scoot. It's whatever. Malcolm Brogdon himself, 18 points, 7 assists, 17 and 5 assists for Anthony Simons, who was quiet and invisible for most of the game. And I thought he didn't do, Malcolm Brogdon 7 turnovers in this game, including one at the end. And Ant had 4. They combined for 11 turnovers. And Scoot Henderson had 1. But I thought Ant was mostly bad in this game. I thought he was relatively competitive on defense, but I'm grading on a curve. But he was, because he's bad on defense, to be clear. But I thought he was okay against and physical and kind of the things you want Ant to be on defense, even with his sort of other limitations. But he's really quiet. 9 points through the first 3 quarters, 8 in the fourth quarter, including with the big go-ahead bucket with 30 seconds left. He was good when it mattered. DeAndre Ayton, 5 points, 7 boards. They need him to get to whatever he's going to get to. They need him to get back to it. 18 for Jeremy Grant with 5 rebounds, 14 points, 13 rebounds for Jabari Walker. Dude just plays his butt off. Really easy to root for. The motor is always revving. Duop Reith, 10 off the bench. Matisse Thybulle, 8 off the bench. Toumani Camara, the 9th guy who played, went scoreless in 14 minutes. On the Thunder side, 33 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This wasn't one of those crazy efficient games from Shai where he, 10 of 12 from 2 like he was last time against the Blazers. 10 of 24 from the floor. He was 10 of 21 from from 2. Like they did okay on him, but he's prolific. He scores 19 from Jalen Williams. J-Dub, 2 big buckets down the stretch. 6 for Lou Dort, 8 for Chet Holmgren to go with 10 boards and 6 block shots. 7 for Josh Giddey, 3 for Kaysen Wallace, 7 for Jay Will, that's Jalen Williams, Arkansas, 9 for Isaiah Joe, 5 for Kenny Hustle, Kendrick Williams, and this game was decided by the refs in a lot of ways. This was the reason that this to me is so frustrating is not because I believe in some sort of deep conspiracy about fixed games and all that nonsense. Blazers covered. Blazers covered. Like the spread with they had moved out of the way of the spread, right? This wasn't about that. Like it's just. This was a good basketball game right up until it wasn't. This was an incredibly entertaining, really fun NBA basketball game right up until it wasn't. And then it was just like a truly bizarre ending. Let's talk about the bizarre ending and kind of what transpired in those last 15 seconds a little bit more in the second segment. First, I want to tell you about Hungry Root. If you're trying to eat vegetables, it's the place to do it. Hungry Root is the easiest way to get fresh, high-quality food delivered to your door. They got healthy groceries, simple recipes, all in one place. Here's how it works. Take a fun short quiz, and Hungry Root will get to know you. They'll, whatever your health goals are, your nutrition goals, how you like to eat. They'll ask you, what flavors you like, what kitchen appliances you use, and then they'll keep your needs and preferences at the top of mind, and they'll start building your cart with delicious recipes and all of your grocery needs for the week. They'll recommend recipes, they'll recommend groceries based on your tastes, and then they'll take suggestions or even let you choose whatever you want. They got high-quality fresh produce, high-quality meat and seafood, pantry staples, healthy snacks, sweets, and much more. And they go beyond your weekly grocery haul, thousands of easy recipes. That's like really where they're going to help you out. Is like if you get fresh food you need right to your door, and then know exactly what you're gonna cook. Get a little help up, and you'll spend less time meal planning, less time shopping, and more time cooking and enjoying healthy food that you actually love with Hungry Root. So right now, Hungry Root is offering Locked On NBA listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/lockedon to get 40% off your first delivery and get free veggies. That's hungryroot.com. Don't forget to use that link so they know we sent ya. Today's episode is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. It's what brings home the trophy at the end of the season. It's also what keeps your ride or die on the road. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and to level it up to peak performance. So superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. And with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, baby, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you will love, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Go get that dub. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right. Let's talk about the final 15 seconds of this game a little bit. What frustrates me about this final 15 seconds is I think Scoot Henderson played one of the best games of his career. 19 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, just that one turnover, 7 of 18 from the floor. So he's still only, I believe, has 2 games ever where he shot above 50% from the field. But like, I thought early in the game they were going way under screens, and he passed up a 3 early, and then he kind of took one with and hesitated, and then he did what you want him to do. What you want when people gap you is what Lamar Hurd always calls it, but like for our purposes, it's when they go under screens, when they leave a big gap, right? They just say like, we're going to play way the heck off you and just like dare you to do whatever. You got to eat up space. You got to eat up space with your athleticism. So that's attack into that space, get into the paint. The passing is going to be there. Scoot's a natural passer, but it's creating offense is the challenge for him. He's not a great finisher, but it's process for him, and the results hopefully will come down the line. I thought his process after particularly the early start was really good in this game. I thought it was legitimately really good. He's not... I wish he played more. I'm not going to be political about it. I wish he'd played more. I wish he played the final 4 minutes. I understand why he didn't. I wish he played the final 4 minutes. That's a me problem. That frustrates me because this was going to be about Scoot Henderson. This was going to be about what an incredible basketball game this was. What a freaking great basketball. What a great basketball game. Straight up. 14 lead changes in the fourth quarter. Just entertaining, fun basketball. It wasn't, and it wasn't a game that was just spammed by three-pointers. The Blazers made threes, 18 of 39 from three, shot 46% from three, but they really just, they made 12 threes in the first half. They were so hot. Down the stretch, you had to make plays. Down the stretch, you got to make plays. And they did. And Thunder responded. And this wasn't, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to get the free throw line. That's what he does. But this wasn't one of those games where he, where the Thunder just force a cajillion turnovers and make a million twos and then live at the free throw line. And you're just well, you just can't beat that weird machine. And Shai gets a great whistle. So I'm not trying to say that this wasn't a game where he gets a great whistle. He gets every time I watch him play, my man gets a great whistle. Drawing fouls is a skill. He has that skill. And then he's ascended to the superstar status where you get, not only do you have the skill of drawing fouls, but you get a good whistle. He gets one. But I didn't think this was an egregious Shai game. I've seen some egregious Shai games. My man Anthony Edwards was complaining earlier this week about the whistle SGA gets, and I'm with him. He gets a great whistle. He's a young person in the league who gets a great whistle. But I don't think this was that. To me, that wasn't that frustrating of part of the game. Scoot's pretty good. It wasn't a crazy grift game. It wasn't a game where OKC just kind of wears the Blazers down and came back. They responded to the run, right? They have a huge second quarter. OKC takes the lead and the Blazers respond and don't fade and play well. 8 points from Ant down in the fourth quarter. This podcast was supposed to be about freaking anything else, right? I hate talking about the refs. I hate it. Some people say that and they actually mean they love talking about the refs. I genuinely think it's boring. Most people say, I don't like to complain about the refs, and that's the whole pod. That's 35 minutes. Not just podcasters. Your friends do this too. Anyone you talk to that uses the phrase, I don't usually complain about the refs, is about to do what they always do, complain about the refs. The way that it was officiated was just strange. So, I really like that the Thunder don't foul. I think that's really good coaching. Mark Daigneault's clearly a really good coach. And they set up the trap perfectly, right? They had a high man on the ball. They had a high man on Anthony Simons, who was the other guy at the half court line. They brought players up, and then Jeremy Grant kind of flashed like he was going to come get the ball, and they pressed up on Grant. They were really attentive and ready to trap. There was a well executed plan by OKC. And in the pool report, when Bill Kennedy, the head referee for this staff, spoke to the pool reporter, which is decided before the game, and someone local media becomes the pool reporter, and if there needs to be one there, they go talk, and you submit questions beforehand, and then and then the refs get a chance to review the questions, and they talk to you afterwards, and it's kind of a stupid exercise. I've done it a handful of times. I don't enjoy it, but it is in the pool report. Bill Kennedy's explanation is that the reason that they didn't see Chauncey Billups signaling for a timeout is because they're watching the play. Huh? Does that mean they never see timeouts? That explanation would suggest that you can't ever call a timeout in the league, right? Because they're watching the play, because the play's happening. So you couldn't call a timeout. The replay they showed on the Blazers broadcast. I wasn't in the gym, right? So I didn't. It's in Oklahoma City, but The replay they showed on the broadcast, it is clear that Billups is both yelling timeout and signaling timeout, and he's out of the coach's box. He's like basically at midcourt. What else is he supposed to do? Billups deserves a lot of criticism this year, and certainly on this podcast, I've given it to him. But like, other than yell timeout and signal timeout and move up towards the play, towards half court, what is he supposed to do? What else could my man do in order to signal a timeout? Malcolm Brogdon live, I did not think he called timeout. He told reporters afterwards, according to Casey Holdall, that he did. He said he called a timeout. Again, I'll say this again to be 100% clear, 100% honest in my opinion. Live, it looked like a double dribble because he double dribbled, because he stepped through a double team and double dribbled. On the replay, it is unbelievable that they didn't get a timeout. What the hell? I just don't know what they're doing. Again, I don't think this is some grand conspiracy. I don't think this is like pro Oklahoma City, whatever. The Blazers are not guaranteed to win if they get a timeout. They're going to have to it's a 1-point game with 16 seconds left. They're going to have to get the ball in bounds and make free throws, and OKC's going to have a chance, no matter what happens with the free throws, to tie the ball game and go to OT. Like, I guess OKC doesn't really shoot threes, but like they can. They have some shooters. Like, it was not a done deal if the Blazers get the timeout. But certainly their win expectancy has increased a great deal. So the Blazers have officially, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, filed a protest for this game, a grievance, an official protest, an official grievance with the league for this game. I am not familiar, and I could not quickly find it via Google, a time in the last decade in which a team was awarded a protest. And this is just formal, right? This is just a formality to say, we feel like we got screwed. We feel like you stole this from us. What they did was they stole a chance for this one to be won on the court by the players. I think the Billups first tech is a automatic, unquestionable. You make contact with the ref, that's a tech, period. The explanation for the second tech from Bill Kennedy in the pool report is that he followed the ref onto the court, and after making contact and then following him onto the court, then he got a second tech tossed. I don't know about the second one. It seemed soft and fast. It seemed fast. I don't know the words Chauncey Billups was saying. I'm gonna guess they were bad ones. And to be totally clear, I did see on the broadcast Chauncey Billups told the referee to FOH. That's if you're old enough. I know there's some kids who listen to the program, so don't ask your parents about that one. But like, he told him to get the heck out of here. But he was already ejected by then. Like, that's great. That's a great time to use your swear words. I don't know. I don't know how they didn't get a timeout, and I don't really know about that second tech. But the first tech, even, it's like OKC gets the ball back. They just get the ball. They're going to get the ball back with 15 seconds left. 1-point game. J-Dub's still, he's going to go take a jumper, and the Blazers are going to be down 1. Like, let's assume it plays out the exact same way. They'll probably still lose. So the second tech isn't, I know Shea may miss the first free throw or whatever, so maybe they don't, and maybe he, maybe he misses the free throw. And then he still hits the jumper and you still lose, right? Like, it's just, whatever it is, it's like, I don't think the second tech was, to me, the second tech wasn't obvious. First tech is automatic contact with the official. It's just, how do you not get it? How do you watch that moment and not also, as a referee, a 3-man crew, have an eye on the coach who is going to call a timeout? And because refs do this, they anticipate this nonsense all the time. It just doesn't make sense. The explanation doesn't make sense. Like, the reality, how it played out, doesn't make sense. And one last time, live, it looked like to me that it was a double dribble. On the replay, it's freaking believable and undeniable that Chauncey Billups is yelling and signaling timeout. What else are you supposed to do? It's a stolen W. Blazers are not going to win the protest. They're not going to magically get this game back. In the grand scheme, losing is probably better for them because of draft picks and yada, yada, yada. But this was a game where they played great and they deserve to win and celebrate and feel good. And instead they didn't. They go home with garbage. Stinks. The good news is, or the bad news is, they got on an airplane and went to Houston and they play the Rockets on Wednesday. Cool. They get to play again, some redemption, or just like maybe some deflation, and you lost a game that you felt like you could have won, and then you play another tough one with limited rest on the next night. It's that's really neither here nor there, but what a stinky way to soil an otherwise great basketball game. As someone who loves great basketball games, that was a great basketball game right up until it was a terrible basketball game, and then it was a bizarre one. A friend of mine who doesn't listen to the show, so I'll give him a shout out anyways. I watched the first half live and I watched the second half on record, and he texts me, he said, I'm not going to spoil it because I know you're not watching, but like, you couldn't in a million years guess how this one ends. I could not have. Amazing. It stinks. It stinks. It really does. Okay, I went long here because I'm frustrated with watching a basketball game that should have been enjoyable and wasn't. So let's go to the third segment and talk about Terry Rozier. He got traded from the Charlotte Hornets to the Miami Heat, and I think he's an interesting market setter, particularly in relation to Malcolm Brogdon. Let's talk about that to close the show. But first, let me tell you about FanDuel, America's number one sports book and an official partner of the NFL. They want to give you some free money. If you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon right now, that's FanDuel.com/lockedon. You place a $5 bet on anything. A $5 bet. Place a $5 bet, win or lose, $150 in bonus bets to play with. That's just free money sitting there right in the app for you. The app's super easy to use, super clean, super intuitive, and they got bets on everything. So you want to cook up a crazy multi-game parlay, whatever. You want to live bets on games that are happening and you're watching and you're just sitting on the couch having a little bit of fun. You want to place futures bets on an NFL champion or an NBA champion. You can do it right there. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it on FanDuel.com/lockedon. So visit that URL one more time for you. FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. I'm still a little dejected by a good basketball game. Spoiled. But let's talk about the news of the day. Adrian Griffin got fired. I don't think that's really necessarily pertinent to you, dear Blazers fans. Go listen to Locked On Bucks. They'll have you covered for all of that. I will say, Terry Stotts probably knew. But the real news of the day that I think that in the NBA that I think is pertains to the Blazers is Terry Rozier was traded from the Charlotte Hornets to the Miami Heat. In exchange, the Charlotte Hornets received Kyle Lowry, an expiring contract of Kyle Lowry, and a lottery-protected 2027 draft pick that is unprotected in 2028 from the Miami Heat. In the grand scheme, this means nothing for the Blazers. They're not in the Eastern Conference. They're not in the playoff thick of it anyway, so it's not like they're going to meet the Heat down the line or anything like this. And I guess they're going to play the Heat in February. That matters for them. But I think this deal sets the market. Not that it defines the market, but it is an interesting market setter. Terry Rozier is worth a protected future draft pick, lottery protected future draft pick from a good team. So it's likely to be, in the 20s, and expiring money. Nothing else. Heat didn't really have anything else to trade. This trade works specifically for the Hornets because it allows them some financial flexibility so they can, get out from under some of the, be cheaper because Rozier's got 2 years left on his deal, and now you have expiring money, and you're able to use salary cap space in the way that bad teams do, which is take on other bad contracts in exchange for future draft picks moving forward, so you can get more assets for quote unquote renting out your cap space. Works for the Hornets, works for the Heat because their offense has kind of been pretty stinky over the last couple weeks. They need some more juice. Terry Rozier's got juice. But I think it means a little bit for the Blazers because they're going to trade a sort of veteran combo-y, helps you with offensive juice type of guard in Malcolm Brogdon here in the next couple weeks. I think there is virtually no chance Malcolm Brogdon is on the team February 9th. I know some fans are probably rooting for it because Malcolm Brogdon is easy to root for, but I personally believe that the Blazers have to trade him, and then but that's an opinion. And my tea leaf reading is that they're absolutely 100% going to trade him. So when they do, what you got for Terry Rozier will be part of the bargaining process, because during these cycles, during the trade deadline cycles, the market helps dictate what you can negotiate, right? I think when Rudy Gobert got traded, it screwed up the NBA trade market for a little bit because it was okay, 5 picks. Okay, 5 picks, Walker Kessler, Ochai Agbaji, 5, and then things kind of reset, time passes and things reset, and the next cycle, the price is different. Is Terry Rozier better than Malcolm Brogdon? I don't think so. Probably Malcolm Brogdon is better than him. They're different. They're very similar, in the grand, zoomed out scheme, they're offensive focused combo guards. Brogdon is probably a little more competent of a defender at this stage. Terry Rozier at one point was a good defensive player. I don't think he's been that in Charlotte, and maybe Spo Magic will get him back to being a good defensive player in Miami. His counting numbers are better, but he plays a different role than Brogdon. He wasn't Brogdon's never been the lead lone creator on a team that need to score 20 some a game. Terry Rozier's having a great offensive season. Brogdon's having a pretty darn solid offensive season. Really good shooter. It's a little bit different. So each team might need different stuff. Brogdon's not a rim pressure guy, but he's a really good catch and shoot shooter. And Rozier's a better pull up mid range shooter, rim pressure guy than he is just a straight bomber from 3. But they're pretty similar in the grand scheme of overall talent. They're relatively similar in the grand scheme. I'd probably lean that Brogdon's better, but if you feel Rozier's better, it doesn't matter. The seesaw is just tipping back and forth. It's not, they're not wildly different in my humble opinion. So I think this might be what you can expect if the Blazers were to make a deal. So if you were rooting for 2 first-round picks and some sort of magic prospect, the Blazers are going to have to find the sweetheart team that really wants Malcolm Brogdon and get everything they can out of him. I will say one of the things that I think Joe Cronin has generally done well is identify teams with needs and say, okay, take this asset. New Orleans, you're pretty much the only team that would be willing to give up stuff for CJ McCollum. Let's get that stuff. The Clippers, when they salary dumped Norm Powell and Rocco, I didn't really like that trade, but the Clippers were a team willing to just take on that money for expiring so Blazers could get out from under the money quickly. I guess they had to stretch Wave Bledsoe. But I think this is an interesting market setter. And I think it's when you're anticipating a Brogdon trade, you're cooking them up in your trade machine, a lottery protected or lightly, or, top 10, top or lottery protected type of future draft pick and the money to make it work. I do not think that the Terry Rozier market setter does not suggest that you're getting an interesting young player back. And why I say the money to make it work is because Malcolm Brogdon makes $22 million. So that's pretty easy money to trade, but it's not easy money to trade for a rookie. You're going to have to take a vet. You're going to have to take money back to make it even, most likely from a team. So the money to make it work in a protected pick, I think Rozier helps set the market, and the Blazers can anticipate something very similar for Brogdon, unless they can find that perfect team. So you're hoping for Joe Cronin to get out there and find that perfect team. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Hopefully the refs don't come in and steal this in the last 15 seconds here. Tomorrow we will recap the game against the Houston Rockets. Let's let us, for a moment, just send good vibes so we do not have to talk about officiating in tomorrow's podcast whatsoever. No officiating talk in any form or function. That's what we got cooking 5 days a week wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Come back for tomorrow's show. Come back next week. Come back always. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.